Assalamu alaikum. Once upon a time, the end. That's how our storytelling goes with my 3-year-old Mustafa. Whole story in 2 lines. So with the same spirit, I can say, once upon a time, APPNA Pediatrics began, and here we are, 10 years later, the end. But I don't think you will let me get away that easily, right? Because it's lunchtime, but I'm going to take a little bit of more time. I can talk about the list of things which we have achieved in the first 6 months of 2025. I put them on the screen. I'm not sure if you remember my first email as a president. I sent email, these are our short-term goals we're going to achieve. And except one, we did not achieve, one of the projects which went to fruition, we were able to achieve most of the things we wanted to achieve. And I have put them in the list. And honestly, I don't want to bore you going over the same stuff which I send you with bi-monthly newsletters in the WhatsApp group, in the email to all the registered members. But that's not the point. I'm here to talk about the vision, not just reflections of the past. Because I don't represent APPNA Pediatrics only. I represent you. And it's not my vision, it's our vision together. And looking into 10 years, 15 years, what they call Silver Jubilee, the Golden Jubilee, the Platinum Jubilee, and Centenary Celebration. That's what I'm talking about as a vision. Trust me, we are living in times of unprecedented acceleration. What used to take 100 years or a century unfolds in a decade. And we must adapt quickly. There is a huge acceleration in technology, in healthcare, in education. So the change or the pace of change is accelerating every passing month, even nowadays. So what used to take years and years now with the AI, we can actually do amazing things, which can happen very quickly nowadays. So that's something I'm talking about. So that's why we must adapt quickly. And adaptation does not mean abandoning values. Let me repeat that. Adaptation does not mean abandoning values. We can embrace artificial intelligence. We can embrace automation and still hold on to our values, our faith, our belief system. We can hold on to all of that. So it's not how modern we are, it's how meaningfully we evolve in this new time. That's more important. And innovation, honestly, and are you ready? Innovation without intention is noise. Innovation without intention is noise. But innovation with purpose, that's transformation. That's what I'm talking about. One of the most underestimated assets we have is very organization of Pediatrics. This is one of the most underestimated assets we have. I believe we have not realized the power of this organization. It's not just a network. It's not just a network. It's a launch pad. And if we remain passive, don't actively participate, it's just like another chat group out of many chat groups. But if we are active, if we are actively participating, if we are actively contributing, that's the kind of transformation, and that's something I'm talking about. I have no confusion. I don't have any ambiguity that APPNA Pediatrics has one of the greatest potential to become a great movement. And let me tell you, to put everything in right perspective, what I'm talking about and the context I'm talking about. And you know what I'm going to say? I'm going to tell my own personal stories. And just a disclaimer, none of these stories is an exaggeration. And they are facts from my own personal life that I'm going to share with you. Okay, I was a second-year medical student, and I was standing on the famous Grand Trunk Road, the GT Road, the same GT Road, that GT Road, That's what I'm talking about. I'm waiting for transportation. And you know what happened in front of my eyes? Are you ready? In front of my own eyes, I saw a 5-year-old girl crossing the road hit by a Toyota IS. She got injured, she got bruised, she got so many fractures. I can't remember how many fractures she might have got. I could see her eyes. Are you ready? Preventable death. This is preventable death. Road safety measures, preventable death. Grand Trunk Road, sitting there since Sherita Suri's time, does not have safety measures. That's the kind of perspective I'm talking about. That's the kind of context I'm bringing you. Another story. I'm a final year medical student, and I am, spending time with my family in my village. I went to my small home, and one of the lady from our neighborhood, she came to me and asked me, and I knew the lady, and she said, one of my sons, he is 19-year-old. He's behaving weird. And, when you are a medical student in business, you are already fully accomplished, certified doctor. That's how they're treated. They take your advice seriously. So I go to her house. I met this, I actually knew him. We used to play together, the guy I'm talking about. Just like a typical medical student, I'm asking the history questions. When did the symptoms start? All of a sudden, he had this episode in front of me where he became very psychotic. He's moving, he's still talking to me. And all of a sudden, it came to my mind. And I asked him, were you ever bitten by a dog? And he said, not by a dog, but by a donkey. And my question was, where's the donkey? And he said, the donkey died 3 days later. And you know where I'm going. Those of you who know where I'm going, I was rattled. I was devastated. I went to my medical college hospital. I never asked about it for 2 weeks. And obviously 3 days, she died 3 days later of rabies, of preventable death. Another story. And a 5-year-old girl, she walks and she falls. First time she falls, nobody took it serious. Second time, then it became frequent. And she started to have paralysis of the legs and whatnot. They never had this. She died finally because the whole body became paralyzed in the end. And I had the strong suspicion that she had polio. And her name was Zan. She was beautiful. She was my niece. So see what kind of life events shape us, as human beings. So those are the stories I'm talking about. And honestly, you don't need a lot of resources to make a difference in other people's lives. I think this is a big myth people have. We need a lot of resources to transform people, to make changes in other people's lives. And I will give you an example of it from my own life. There was a village. In that village, a lady, she was married with arranged marriage. She was born and raised in a big city in a good scale. She notices that, people here just don't send girls to the higher education after marriage. She inspired them. She said, no, you should not do that. And that same village has more PhD girls than any other surrounding village. One person transformed everything. Because she was sincere, she put her all efforts there, and that made a huge difference in so many people's lives. So that's the kind of transformation I'm talking about. Okay. So what we are asking by telling you all these stories, this is what we ask. Don't wait for you become a PNA's member. You can get registered. We don't think that we are the only organization that can get checked. There are so many options you may have. But this is one of the options. And the way things are moving, if you're not really connected for a few weeks, it would be as if you are hibernation for years. Because the pace is changing, the things are changing, everything is changing very quickly. So that's why being connected is very, very important. So once you are connected, are you ready? Once you are connected, don't worry about success. Worry about efforts. Worry about what kind of efforts. Are you using your full potential? Are you giving your 100%? Are you trying the best? That's what I'm talking about. As a Muslim, we believe that we will not be tested based on number of successes we have. We'll be tested how much we put effort in doing something. Don't worry about success. Worry about the efforts. That's your test. Nobody else's test is that. It's your test. Did you try everything at your disposal to make a difference? Okay? So, one of the things we can, I like this word, it would do, bear job. Have you heard this bear job? It's pretty common. Most people use it in negative connotations, but I think you can use it in positive connotations as well. Create a snowball effect of your effort. That is what I'm talking about. You know what snowball effect is? You mean, and I will give you an example. For example, I want to create awareness among people about health education and about all these things that I created YouTube channel, but I don't get views, right? But someone smarter than me picks up the idea, start making better videos than me, because he knew how to handle SEO of the YouTube videos may have a better impact than me. That is snowball effect. Because my target is to make a difference. Maybe I'm not getting views, but I'm inspiring other people to make better videos. So that's what I'm talking about. So, this is also linked with the success, that you don't worry about success, you create a snowball effect. Okay? So, and the other version I like in you is the namu and the writer. So, you put a seed of growth, and with a constant positive change, how things are changing. That's the writer. So, namu and the writer, that is what you always. So the bottom line is, we don't want this organization to be just like any other organization, which is occasionally looked upon, but we want it to be very to actively participate and drive it, on the forefront. So in closing, I don't want to bore you with this talk more, but in closing, I will say that, the same thing. Once upon a time, APPNA Peace began, and this organization began. Now it's your turn. And but scratch everything. Nobody will remember us after 100 years or 200 years, right? Nobody will remember. But that's not the point. The point is, you want to build something which goes beyond memories and which goes beyond generational memories. That's what I'm talking about. So build something which goes beyond generational memories. So that should be the vision of APPNA. When we are long gone, we want the APPNA to still doing amazing things. Okay? So that's the vision. So I would say, once upon a time, APPNA began, here we are, and let's write the next chapter together that goes beyond generational memories. I thank you all for your patience. I know I interrupted you. APPNA Zindabad, Pakistan Zindabad, God bless United States of America.